Hello, students. So once again, I want to start by just saying sorry that I can't be there to really explain the PBAT project to you. But like I said before, I want to give you an opportunity to start doing this project this week so that you don't fall behind the other classes. So what you're looking at here is, of course, the Google Classroom. And we're going to click on that. And you should see a new topic for the class called Mini PBAT Project. And this is basically going to be the last topic for this semester. So from now until the end of the semester, you're basically going to be working on assignments and using materials that will be found in this section. Now, so I guess I just want to take this time to really go through what the project is about and what you need to do for the project. And of course, also tell you when everything needs to be completed by. So I hope that this video will answer those questions. And remember that, you can always email me if you have questions. And I will also send you an email later over the weekend to see if your class wants to come in on Monday for that Monday extra support that we offer at the school. So, and like I said before, I will give you priority to sign up for that since I am not here in person to answer your questions about this project. So right here, we'll see that the first part, it says PBAT project description website. So I'm going to click on that and then visit that website. And as usual, you will see that, it's available in different languages. So what I'll try to do is I'll click on, I'll focus on the English one, but I'll have the Spanish and French one open as well so that I can maybe put the different ones up on the screen like that, okay? But let's begin. So the first, when you visit the page in the language that you want, you'll see that there's, the first thing is an overview of the project. So basically, this project is an overview of or a summary of the skills that you've been practicing throughout the semester. So skills like finding reliable sources, about using evidence, about stating your opinion and explaining why you think so, the reasons for that opinion, and also doing some writing. All of these things are what this project is about. And as you can see here, these are the outcomes that you will be graded on for this project. Now, all these outcomes are, these are basically like almost all the outcomes for the class for this semester. So it's very important that you work on the project and basically, complete it on time. So you'll see here that you have things like that you're able to write a claim based on history knowledge, you're able to evaluate evidence, you're able to cite evidence correctly, you're able to do analysis, you're able to make connections to the world of today. You can demonstrate knowledge of the topic that you're talking about, and you know how to write a meal paragraph. And like we've discussed in class before, a meal paragraph is very important because basically it is the foundation for a lot of the writing that you will do at this school. And it's also helpful for you when you go to college or university. All right. So you'll also see here on the page the dates for submitting the major parts of the project. Okay. And I guess I'll just point ahead to the biggest date, June 14th. June 14th is the final date to submit all parts of your mini PBAT project. Okay. So this date seems at, both, it seems like very far away, but it's coming up very close and it's very soon. However, do not get stressed out. Do not panic. There is I still think there's a lot of time for you to work on this. and especially if you're doing things on time. So if we look at the due dates, you basically have four big things that you need to turn in for this project. And if you complete these things on time, it basically just means that you don't have to stress out. You will be able to complete all parts of this project and turn in if you turn in everything on time. So if you'll see here, it says May 24th, 2021, that's Monday. And by that time, you need to just submit your project choice on Google Classroom. I'll explain what this means, but this is essentially like you're just telling me which project option you want to do. So you just need to make a decision and tell me what that decision is, right? By May 28th, that's Friday, you need to submit two things. You need to submit the introduction paragraph and also submit the pieces of evidence that you will use for this project. All right. And for this mini PBAT, I'm requiring you to do 2 to 4 pieces of evidence. So the minimum is 2 pieces of evidence. The maximum would be 4 pieces of evidence. And all this evidence will be located in the meal paragraphs that you must complete. Okay. And, you know, so, and on June 4th, you must submit at least one of the meal paragraphs by that time. Um, So if you're doing everything on time and turning everything in according to the due date, so you would have done by June 4th, you have 3 things completed, right? You told me what your project choice was. You told me like you've completed the introduction paragraph and found the evidence. Okay. And then by June 4th, you'll be completing 1 meal paragraph. And then on June 11th, your second meal paragraph is 2. So all in all, um, you will have to complete, like in terms of paragraphs, you'll have to complete 3 paragraphs, the introduction paragraph and the 2 meal paragraphs. So, and everything must be submitted by June 14th, 2021. Now, as I've said before, if you do things on time, if you stick to these deadlines, to these due dates, you should be able to finish everything before this date, or at least by this date. Now, maybe something else that you're worried about is what happens if you need help with this project. I know some of you can probably do this independently, but others need help. And I want to make sure that you know all of the help that is available to you. So, one thing I want to make very clear is that in my classes from now until the end of semester, we will not have like regular lessons anymore. We're not going to have lessons where I show you videos and talk to you about, and have you go on Nearpod, things like that. So we're not doing that anymore. The only thing we're focusing on for the rest of this semester, for the next like 3-4 weeks, no, for the next 4 weeks is you coming to class and working on this project. So already that is a big help. We have smaller classes. There's a fewer of you. So I think it's very likely that I'll be able to like individually help all of you during class. So if you have any questions, well, have those ready for class. Now, if you need extra help, here are some other options. So something else you can do is like I've mentioned before, you can come to class on Mondays. There's a couple of you in this class that already come on Mondays to receive extra support. But for the rest of you, you just need to tell me that you want to come in on Mondays to work from 9:30 to 12:30 in the class, and just to have extra support from me, and I can also help you individually. And really, that Monday time is a great opportunity. But of course, the space is limited, so you need to tell me ahead of time if you are planning to come on Monday. Also on Mondays from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., I will be available via Zoom. So you can see right here in this on this page, there's a link to that Zoom. So if you can click on that, it'll automatically. If you click on that for Mondays at 4 o'clock, you will be able to join for that time. There is also help available on Fridays from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Now, of course, because um, I'm the reason I'm not teaching classes because I'm out of town. It will not be available this week, but starting next week, all of these times are available. So Fridays at 2 p.m. you can join on the Zoom, and also Wednesdays from 4 p.m. So please also keep in mind that other teachers will be having after school um, to to teach you to help you with their projects. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind, because it may be that teachers have after school on the same days. So you're going to need to plan ahead and make sure that you know how you're scheduling your time to receive help. Make sure you're doing that. All right. So the this is the big part that that you need to complete by next Monday. Um, so this project involves having different PBAT options. Okay, so like I said, the project any option you choose, you have to complete an introduction paragraph and two supporting meal paragraphs. But you have from to choose from. You have 6 different topics, and these are all based on topics that we've discussed during class. So if hopefully there will be a topic here that is interesting to you, um, and so that you feel like it's something that you enjoy doing while working on this project. That is my one big advice, is that whatever you choose, make sure that you're choosing something that is interesting to you. So whichever topic you want to choose from these 6 options, make sure it's something that you really do enjoy and you find is interesting, um, so that you're more motivated to complete the project. Okay. All right. And So here are the 6 options. Number 1, it's about ICE and knowing your rights. This is something we talked about at near the beginning of the class of the semester. There's also the second option, the American prison system and American slavery. The third option is about memorialization and honoring the past. Option 4 is about inspiring stories during the Holocaust. Option 5 is how racism influenced decisions during World War II. And the final option, number 6, is war crimes and the atomic bomb. All right. So all of these have different descriptions. But what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go through one of these just so that you know what you have to do, like what are the expectations and what each description has. So even I'm going to just go for the first one, ICE and knowing your rights, and to kind of go through it and tell you like how to use the information from this website to help you in doing the project. All right. So like it says up there, option 1, ICE and knowing your rights. So every option has a description at the top. So I actually think that these descriptions are helpful. And I would say that if you visit these descriptions at the top right here, if you read and if you find it interesting, and find these descriptions interesting, then this should indicate to you that you will find the project interesting. If you read this description and you think the project is boring, you probably shouldn't choose this option. So every option has a description like this. I can cycle through these. See, that's for option 2, for option 3, option 4, option 5, and option 6. So let's go back to option 1. Okay. And so I'll just read through this description. Earlier this semester, we spent some time discussing your rights as a person living in New York City. We learned about the different rules that exist when interacting with police and immigration. You also learned about some of the rights that you have when you're interacting with police and immigration office agents. We learned that one of the agencies that caused a lot of problems and fears in the immigrant community is ICE, which stands for Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This PBAT project focuses on evaluating this agency and finding information about the effects of ICE in New York City and the rest of the country, and determine if this federal agency should continue to exist due to its negative actions. So after you finish reading the description, then basically it's like, it's up to you if you are interested in working on this project option. So another thing that you'll see on each page is the project question to answer, and basically that is the focus of whatever option you're doing. So this question is what basically you have to answer and provide evidence to your answer. Okay, so right here, for example, it says, should ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, be abolished or canceled as a federal agency? And I'll just take this opportunity to cycle through the different languages so that each of you can look at these different ones. All right, so the question is, should ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, be abolished or canceled as a federal agency? Right? So basically this option is about you deciding if, ICE should still exist. So that's basically what the focus of this part of the project is, of this project option is. So if this is something that is interesting to you, something that you're passionate about, then I recommend that you focus on this option. All right. And then, basically your whole paragraphs are about how you answer this question. So if you say, yes, I think that I think that ICE should be abolished and canceled. Okay. So there you've answered the question and now you just have to provide reasons why you think it should be canceled. Okay. And that's basically how you respond to any of these questions that you have for the different projects. So each question gives you some type of choice or that you need to answer. Okay. Now, after the project question to answer, you'll see here it says possible topics to research. So the possible topics to research are basically these are just topics that I've created for you, so that if you wanted to think about what you need to research, like what should you be focusing on, well, I basically just give you some examples of what to focus on. So for this option, you can, for example, to answer this question, you can focus on how the mistreatment of ICE police towards the immigrant community. You can focus on the violation of rights and unethical tactics used by ICE. You can also talk about how the actions of the ICE agency promotes racism and discrimination. So these are just some possible topics. And if you look at these possible topics, they are also ways that you can answer the question. So if these topics are interesting to you, or one of them is interesting to you, then that could be like basically the foundation for how you will answer this question, right? Next are the project requirements. And no matter what project you're doing, what option you're doing, the project requirements are basically pretty much the same. So don't think that choosing option 5 is the best. because you think that the project requirements are easier. They are not. I made sure that all the projects, they're different in the topic, but the same in what I'm asking you to do for them. So one of the project requirements is the introduction paragraph. So basically, this is like what this paragraph is how you begin your whole project. And for each topic available, it actually tells you exactly what you should be doing for this paragraph. So at least for the introduction paragraph, it is not very difficult for you to start or for you to think about like what you need to do. For example, here it says, for this particular paragraph, it says that you need to include an introduction and description of what is the ICE agency, a description of the basic rights of people in New York City, and a clear answer and reason to this question. Should ICE be abolished or canceled as a federal agency? So for the introduction paragraph, you basically just need to do these 3 things and you will have completed the introduction paragraph. Then that's basically it. Okay. So that's it for that introduction paragraph. Now you do have evidence requirements because this is a project where you need to use evidence to answer the questions. So of course there are evidence requirements. If you just write information without telling me where that evidence came from or anything else like that, then your project you're not going to pass the project. Basically, you will not get credit for it. So what are the evidence requirements? You'll need to find 2 to 4 different pieces of evidence that support your answer to the project question. So if you believe that the ICE agency should not exist, that it should be canceled, then you need to give me 2 or 3 or 4 pieces of evidence that helps to support your perspective. Okay. And as we've talked about throughout the whole semester, your evidence should come from reliable news agencies and history websites. So right here on the page, I've provided a link, and I think I've shown you this list before, but it's basically a reliable website list. So the first section is about news sources that are reliable, and then the section after that are history and science sources that are reliable as well. You'll see some of them are in yellow. So I've marked the ones that I think would be the most helpful for you when you're looking for information for your projects. So I would start with the yellow ones. And I know that, as some of you may know, that I'm a fan of the New York Times. I think it's very reliable. So if you're looking for information from a news source, I recommend starting with the New York Times. Okay. So you also need to write 2 supporting meal paragraphs. Okay. And I'm going to give you more details and more information about how to write the meal paragraphs. So if you're really not sure, don't worry about it too much. I will explain it later once you have finished the introduction and the evidence organizer. But I just want to make you very aware that you need to do those 2 supporting meal paragraphs. No matter what topic you choose, you need to do 2 supporting meal paragraphs. But like I said, it's something that I will show you how to do later. And but they're still going to be very similar to how you did your slavery meal paragraph. So if you understood how to do that paragraph, then this shouldn't be too much of a problem. It should be very similar to how we did that paragraph. All right. So, and the 2 supporting meal paragraphs, they each have to have an introduction to the paragraph topic, a claim that answers the project question, 1 or 2 pieces of evidence that supports the answer using the reliable sources, an analysis that connects the evidence to the claim and makes a connection to the bigger topic of people's rights and the treatment of undocumented people, and also a link that summarizes the ideas of the paragraph. So like I said, I'll work with you to develop these meal paragraphs, but these paragraphs need to have these items. Now, how do you submit this project? Like you submit everything else, you will be doing it through Google Classroom. So, like I just said, for the meal paragraphs and for the evidence, you need to find information about this topic from different sources of evidence that are reliable. So for any option you choose, you will have some ways to get started. It says right there how to get started. So I've provided you with different articles that you can use to do this. So there are some articles here that, like, if I click on this one, it basically is an article that basically tells you like what is ICE and why do critics want to abolish it. So this would be a good article to start to just find details and information about the topic itself. And I also have like a video here that talks about why ICE should be abolished, and some other articles. Now, I of course if you want to get more points for this project, you need to submit at least one evidence that's not one that I gave you. It has to be a reliable source from that I did not provide for you. So you can use all of these, and I think you could probably use all of this information to do like most, if not all, of your meal paragraphs. But what I'm asking you for is like if you wanted to go beyond and wanted to actually get the highest points, the only way that you're going to do that is if you find information on your own from a reliable source. Okay. So that's pretty much it for the description of the project. That's what you need to complete. So the question then is, what do you do with the rest of your time? Okay. So what you should be doing right now, I went through an example. You basically should be reviewing all of these topics, all of these options. You should be checking each of these options and reading the descriptions to see which option you really want to focus on. And I think it would be really, really good if you, by the end of class today, you actually know like what topic you want to focus on. And remember that on Monday, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at the dimension. Yeah. So by Monday, you must submit your project choice on Google Classroom. So I'll show you. It's pretty simple how you do that. Let me go to the Google Classroom. Right under the project description, it's got a Google Classroom question. So let's click on that. And let me view the question right there. And the question is simply, which project option will you focus on for your mini PBAT project? And choose only one option. So it has the 6 options right there. And you just need to choose the one that you're going to focus on. So for example, if I wanted to focus on the first option that I looked through, option 1, ICE knowing your rights, I click on that. I click on turn in, and it'll ask you, are you sure? And be very clear. It says you won't be able to make changes to your answer after you submit. So because of this option type, you won't be able to make any changes. So please make sure that your option is correct. Of course, if you want to change to a different option, if you want to change to a different topic, that's fine. The Google Classroom doesn't let you change that, but of course I'll be able to change it for you, and it's fine. But I want you to choose something before Monday so that you can get started on the project. I'm just going to cancel this so that I can show this to you later as well. All right. But that's basically what you have to complete before Monday. So I hope this was helpful as an introduction to what the project is, and I will see you next week.